just got another piece of equipment in today, so we've been all slow for the last week and a half or so. Dang airplanes. So as soon as you turn on the camera, they come flying in. I think they got my camera bugged. So anyway, I just got a weed eater in. Got a guy says he's going to bring his mower in Monday. Got another one that says he's going to bring it in a couple weeks in May. That zero turn I've been holding on to for about a month. He's coming today to pick up his zero turn. But I noticed that there was, the other day I came out here and I wanted to start the beast. They're coming from every direction. And the fuse on the underneath there was burned up. Now it was burned up. It had melted a little bit. It's a 20 amp fuse. It's like a car fuse. They're just gonna harass me all day. I might have to quit making videos. So I replaced the fuse. But then I noticed that my amp meter wasn't calculating on my one on the beast here. And it's supposed to, I mean, it's supposed to have a really good charging system because it has a PTO, which is a, you know, electric engagement for your lawn, you know, your mowing deck. So it's got a 15 to 20 amp charging system. So it wasn't charging. So I got my meter out and I started checking different things, checked the battery. It wasn't bad. It was a 12.5 and it was getting a little bit of charge. So at 12.5 was when it was off. Then I turned it on. It was slowly went up to 12.8, but it should be at 14.2 or something, and it just wasn't. So I checked the stator, and I'll show you how I do all this on my other channel. As a matter of fact, I just repaired a mower that had a similar problem, and then of course I'll put this one on that channel also, but it'll be a while. I mean, we're over a month ahead on videos on that other channel. So I started checking with my multimeter, and it was obvious the stator is bad. Now the stator is this thing right here, and it sits underneath your flywheel. So you got a flywheel here underneath on the engine. It goes around, and so it sits inside here. And in there is batteries on your flywheel, or not batteries, the magnets. So that goes all the way around with magnets. Now this particular flywheel came off that other mower I was telling you about just a minute ago, and all the magnets were damaged, including this one. This one's about the best one out of the bunch, but they were damaged. What can happen is if you're using these as commercial mowers, that flywheel starts to heat up and cool down, heat up and cool down. So if you're running these things all day long, it's likely that epoxy that holds those magnets on will start to break away, and in that case it heated up and they broke, and then it damaged the stator. So you can see here there's damage there. One of them is totally bent. Not sure if I'm going to, right there, that one right there is totally bent. So I replaced it. So it's I had this problem a long time ago, probably in 2002. Maybe it was 2001. I was cutting grass for a living. We went out and spent our last $800 just to open my consulting firm, and everything slowed down. It was a little recession back then. 2003, that's when it was. So we bought a lawnmower, Murray from Walmart, 36-inch maybe. It was real small, 11 horsepower. And we went around and started cutting lawns. Same thing happened to that one. The magnets broke loose. It was under warranty, and they replaced it. These flywheels are really expensive. Now you can buy just the magnets, put the magnets on, but they're like $49 for two, and you need, I think, 6 of them. So you're going to be up to 150 bucks. So the flywheel that I had to buy was $250 or something for that other lawnmower. But I'm not going to replace the batteries, because then you got to guarantee that. And I'm not going to guarantee that because, well, I'm just not. So I would rather replace the flywheel. Now, I know there's mechanics out there that will do it, but I'm just not going to do it. If it was mine, I probably would. Now, the Beast, let's get back to the Beast. The Beast doesn't have the same problem. The Beast, the stator just went out. And that is why the fuse melted. It was, I always get it backwards, so I'm not going to try to remember. But one way or another is not enough amps. Maybe it's too much volts. No, maybe it's not enough volts, too many amps is what burned out that fuse. Anyway, so what I did was I put a 30 amp fuse in there just so I could use the Beast. Otherwise, I'd have just been burning out fuses. And I've ordered a new stator. The stator is only, I think it was $28, $26, something like that. But it also comes with a voltage regulator. And while you're at it, you just well replace the voltage regulator. So that's right here. So the two wires, the white wires, are AC wires. So it's supposed to, the stator underneath the flywheel here is supposed to send out anywhere from 30 to, well, anywhere from 13 volts to 50 volts AC, alternating current. Now your battery's DC, and I'll explain that in a minute. So your stator comes into the voltage regulator on both sides, and you might be able to see, I don't know, it says AC right there on this one and that one. So you take your multimeter, you put it on AC, you check your voltage. This one was at 15. Well, even though that is in spec, when I came to check the DC, because now the voltage regulator changes that AC into DC. I know they're doing it on purpose just to tick me off. So now, as it comes out of here, it's DC. So you take your voltage regulator, or meter, your multimeter, you put your negative here, your positive here, and it was only coming up to 12.8. Now again, it should be around anywhere from 13.8 to 14.2. So 12.8 wasn't enough. So since and the reason I've decided it was the stator, I'm still going to replace the voltage regulator because it comes in a set for 28 bucks. I'm just going to replace both of them. The reason I'm pretty sure it's the stator is because the voltage was so low on it, even though it was producing voltage, and it's in spec. It just seemed really low to me. It's like low out of, low on the low side. So I'll just go ahead and replace that. And I've been talking to Carolyn about this mower, and she thinks that it is well paid for itself. I mean, we paid $200 for it. We've done some work to it. We paid $100 to buy it, and then another $100 to fix it up. And we tried to sell it, and it wouldn't sell. So we decided we were going to keep it. And we've done a lot of work with it already this year. And I keep going and dragging lawnmowers across. They park across the street over here. I got permission for them to park across the street. We unload their lawnmower. I drag it over here with this. So it's always busy. So she likes it. She wants me to keep it. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to replace that stator. I'll just come up here with the battery charger every now and then and charge it up. And I was talking to her about it. She said, no, I want you to fix it. And she said, if we ever do decide to sell it, it's just, well, we'll still make a lot of money off of it, even though we've used it for a couple of years. So I like this mower a lot. I mean, a lot. I will never use it to mow the grass. It's just too big for us. We don't need anything this big to mow the grass. But as far as doing the work, that transmission is massive. So the John Deere, even going up hills, you can tell that the transmission's slipping a little, and it's just not made to handle that kind of work. So but this one, it doesn't even care. It is either moving or the tires are spinning in the dirt. That transmission doesn't give up, because that is a garden tractor. So it's designed to pull garden implements like a plow and a tiller and that kind of stuff. It's also got a snow plow attachment you can buy with it, and it's specifically designed for that kind of stuff. So the John Deere can tow 500 pounds, but this one can tow 1,500 pounds, so 3 times the weight. So that transmission is pretty robust, and I would rather tear this one up because it was so much cheaper to tear up. It's just, The other thing is, if we tear it up and it's too expensive to repair, these are a dime a dozen on Facebook Marketplace. They either run or they don't run, but let's say I tear up the transmission. I can get another one off Facebook Marketplace for $100, take the transmission off that one, put it on here, and we're up and running again. But the engine's in really good shape. I don't hear any problems with it. It's not leaking any oil, it's not burning any oil. So I really like it. The YouTube channel seems to like it. The folks always watch these videos. So, man, the wasps are bad this year. They're even complaining about them on Facebook. They're everywhere. I think it's going to rain again today. I'm going to get stung, I'm sure of it. Yeah, he's mad. I'm going to use this flywheel to hold that tarp down. That'll work good. So I got a lawnmower coming, and he says it only runs about 5 minutes. So that should be here Monday. The stator should be here Monday, so I don't know which one I'll work on first. I would imagine it's one of two things with the one with the shutting down after 5 minutes. It's either the gas cap is not venting, so once it gets under a vacuum in the gas tank, it can't pump any more gas, or it's the ignition coils. Sometimes, including the Beast, this happened on the Beast, when they get old, it'll run for a little bit and then shut off. So just check for the spark. You can take those off and test them with the multimeter. You can tell pretty quick if they're bad or not. The problem with the testing on the multimeter is if they run for 5 minutes and they shut off, if you test them when they're cold, the ignition coil, they'll test fine. You got to wait until they get hot, and then they'll show the signs of an issue. What it is, the insulation around the wiring inside the ignition coil will start to wear away, and as that ignition coil heats up, that wire starts to expand, and you lose your, it starts grounding itself out. So you can only test that when it's hot, the ground. So you got to work quick, heat it up. Now the thing that gets me is, he says most of the time it will shut off within 5 minutes, but sometimes he'll be able to mow his entire yard and no problems. Well, that doesn't sound like an ignition coil. If it's an ignition coil, I'm pretty certain it's going to happen every time. If it's a gas tank issue, if you didn't get your gas cap on tight enough and it's venting okay, then it might run and cut the whole grass, the whole yard. But the next time you try it, you turn the gas cap tighter this time and it doesn't work. So that should be an easy fix. And I just got a weed eater today. I've gotten a rash of these still. That's FS 55Rs. That's the one I have. Weed eater. I've gotten like 3 of them already this year. So, and they're all carburetor issues. It's just this one was a little funny. A woman contacted me and says, are you overbooked right now? And I said, no, I'm fine. I said, she said, how long will it take you to work on a weed eater? And I said, well, I guarantee 7 to 10 days. If you got to order parts, it could take up to 10 days to get the part, but I'll work on it right away. She said, no, that's too long. I'm thinking, how's it too long? You telling me weed eating is that vital? I mean, I could go 3 weeks without weed eating. It wouldn't look good, but I could wait a while. But she wanted it right now. Well, her husband came over this morning, just stopped by, said, you've been talking to my wife on Facebook about my weed eater. I was pretty convinced I didn't get that because that was taking too long. But I don't think he agreed with her that that was very long. So he wanted it fixed, so we'll get that fixed. Just a carburetor issue. As a matter of fact, I got it running now. I adjusted it. It won't last. Anytime you have to do an adjustment, it means there's something wrong with the carburetor. You shouldn't have to adjust it. So we'll, the parts will be here on Tuesday. This is Friday, so you gotta get here quickly. Those airplanes are driving me batty. Well, there's that fuse. I guess I dropped it and threw it away, so See how it burned right there? I'm glad that it fell on the ground. So that is a clear indicator of the stator being bad. I don't know if I finished that story. So I guess that's all there is today. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you over my other channel, and we'll be working on, well, I don't know, something cool. So I hope I can inspire you. Fix your problems. Sing, live your dreams. Thanks for watching.